the spawn that at a time was the best, and now it remains as a forgotten spawn by many, but it's still quite good. This is how to team hunt Catacombs. This spawn is located in Oramon through a slime slide teleport inside the Magistrate building, but in order to enter it, you must have casted 50 voting points into the Rathlon quest. This can be done through a bunch of different tasks in the Oramon quest, and each member of the party must do them in order to unlock access. But besides that, this spawn has a different dynamic. There is 3 possible variations of the spawn: Golems, Minos, and Wrath. This changes every 14 days, to whichever has the most amount of votes in that period, and unless you keep track of the date it changes to something else, it's hard to know when the 14 days switch happens. Sometimes, at least on servers with a war, people will troll the spawn by casting points to either the Minotaurs or Golems, which are both spawns for solo hunts. In this case, the only one that is good for team hunt is Wrath, which has a variety of creatures, mainly Hell spawns, Dark Torturers, Green Reapers, and Destroyers, and others like Demons, Juggernauts, and Hellhounds. The spawn itself is also dynamic, which means you can find a Hellhound in the room for one lap, but for the other lap it will respawn as something else, so always communicate when you see a Hellhound, since in order to max out the spawn's potential, it must be hunted on trap style, and Hellhounds are a big threat for mages of this level range. Besides that, for defense, the damage on the EK and RP is mostly physical, with some death attacks, mostly from the Green Reapers, and in terms of offensive, it's best to use avalanches, even though Grims take less damage from it, because the RP and EK will be covering the lack of damage for them, and the avalanche will hit everything else, so it balances out. Additionally, for offense as well, the RP should be using the Divine Grenade for the skill wheel, as everything here is weak to Holy, and the Druid should also be using his Twin Burst attack from the wheel. For MS, I don't know about the wheel, but do go for the defensive debuff as it helps everyone in the group. Now with that said, let's break down the lap, starting by pointing out that the spawn can be divided to the east or west sides, and whoever was there first usually claims the middle area as well. This usually helps some solo paladins to hunt in one of the sides while a team takes the rest of the spawn. For this video, I will cover the left and middle lap, which in general I find to be better. It is not necessary to take the entire spawn even at a higher level average. So the first pool will be in the middle by the right side of it. ED is the first one to head to the spots, and once there he will be left alone tanking 3 monsters. Could optionally do a few laps around kiting the monsters while the rest of the group do their lures. For this one, the EK and MS split up the north or west pools, and their RP lures from the southwest. Depending on the level, the MS and EK come earlier and start the pool, and whenever the MS enters his spot, he magic walls to only let one creature hit him. Sometimes creatures will be into it, and he's left tanking 2. In those cases, Mana Shield is recommended, and also if it is just one creature, but it is a Dark Torturer, then it's also recommended to Mana Shield. Moving up, the next pool will be to the south, outside of the middle area and right by the entrance of the passages. EK lures the monsters on the way to the pool, while the Druid sets up on the spot, and MS continues straight south to lure extras from that room, and the Paladin finishes bringing even more creatures from the north, then follow the path and set up by the next intersection. Here, the EK should do the lure from the south room, MS runs ahead and lures from the passage, and the RP goes north to lure monsters out of that room, then continue the path to the left and then north to go into this room. EK do a lap around the room to give a space for the mages to set up, and the Paladin lures the monsters left behind on the way. In pools with Hellhounds on it, especially if they are in front of the EK and in line with the Druid, you can try to place an M wall behind you so that the waste doesn't hit the Druid. This is a rare occurrence, but it is a good skill to have. And speaking of skills, the RP should also aim to the creature in between him and the EK. That way the diamond arrow hits the most amount of creatures. Additionally, another good thing to do as a paladin is to move to the opposite side through the EK once the monsters start to die and there is empty spaces on him. This allows the EK to rest them off and do more damage. If the paladin doesn't do this, then the EK will do less damage, and overall is less experience for the group. And also for the next pool in the other room is pretty much a repeat of what you just did. The next one after that is straight north into this big room. Go into the room and place a magic wall in the corner for the Druid to set up. Whenever the Druid needs to have 2 walls, it's always useful for the EK to throw a magic wall for him, and that way he stands next to it and 3 walls to the other side. Then stack a wall on top of the magic wall. For this pool, the EK does the usual lap around for the mages to set up while luring the monsters near the middle, and meanwhile the RP will lure the monsters further into the north. This next pull will be bad, because the positioning is awkward for the mages. ED goes in and 3 walls to his side, while placing either a magic or 3 wall to the northwest corner. That way the MS will only get hit by 1 or 0 creatures, but most of the times he ends up taking 1, and in the meantime the RP will try to bring out as much as he can from the room north. We didn't find a better way to do this pull, because the goal is to be close to the north so that the paladin is able to keep aggro of more creatures for his lure. But with this pull finish, go back to the middle and then the lap is completed. Hunting like this, at the start we were doing around the 3.8 kk raw. After getting more comfortable and I think putting some charms, the XP went up to the 4.2 kk as level 320's range. It does have potential for much more. In fact, the cap of the spawn is over the 5 kk, but that's also for higher levels. Around the 450s or so will be able to make that XP, but for a low 300 range is around the 4 kks, making it quite competitive even with newer spawns. But this one still doesn't get used much because of the difficulty of hunting trap style. People do get overwhelmed at the idea of having that many creatures in the screen, which I can understand the fear of it, but I firmly believe it is easier than it looks, and it is a must-have to be able to hunt trap style and be good at it, making this one of the best spots to get used to it. In terms of profit, it will be over 100k per person, but check the price of the metal spikes from the destroyers, since they are used for the tier 3 distance imbuement and should be worth more than NPC price. And also another benefit of hunting this spawn is to get some task points for the killing in the name of quest. For each 2-hour hunt you will be finishing a task, and that adds points pretty quick if you didn't have any. Hellhounds are also taskable, but unlikely to ever finish a task here, though you could finish it hunting in prison, for which I have guides as well in this playlist. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to Tuna Hero, Night Star and Torto Slasher.